here from Davos, Switzerland, the 56th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum. It's the largest they have ever seen. It's almost 1,000 CEOs. It's some 65 heads of state. Almost the whole G7 is here. You can't shake a stick without bumping into somebody that's making a big global decision. And yet the feeling is crisis, particularly crisis here in Europe, as the United States, President Trump is making strident demands that the Americans must own Greenland at a time when the Europeans are fighting Russia in Ukraine. Their economy is not performing particularly well, and they feel like they cannot increasingly trust their principal ally, the United States. But here's the question, is are you FAFO or are you TACO? Because that's the big debate for countries around the world right now in responding to Trump. You've got some countries that are FAFO. They effed around and they found out. This is the challenge for Europe, because the Europeans may think that they're most important ally of the United States, but Trump perceives them as firmly in FAFO territory. And the initial responses we've seen from the Europeans have been fairly mixed. You have several European leaders that are saying they are suspending the EU-US trade deal and that they need to see tariffs in return to the US for the ones that the US is threatening the Europeans with if they're supporting Denmark. But then you saw the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer come out and say, no, this is just performative. We're not going to retaliate with any tariffs. Trump loves hearing that. Divisions in Europe as opposed to a strong united EU makes it easier for him to get what he wants from individual European states. That includes potentially Denmark. And yet Denmark is a trusted ally of the United States. They've increased their defense spending. They fought side by side with the Americans in Afghanistan, had as many soldiers die per capita in that fight as the Americans did. But what have you done for me lately? Doesn't matter for Trump today. What he wants to know is how can he get Greenland. Just wrote a letter literally to Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store of Norway saying, well, because you didn't give me a peace prize after creating peace in 8 different conflicts, some of which, like Armenia and Azerbaijan, weren't actually fighting at the time. But nonetheless, now I'm going to focus not just on peace, but what's best for the United States, which apparently Trump was not doing before. And that means I must have Greenland even more than I did before. In other words, Trump is coming to Davos to meet with a lot of European leaders at a time when he is threatening to rip up the transatlantic alliance and to engage in undermining the territorial integrity of one of its closest, albeit small, allies. Now, if that's the way this ends up, it's the end of NATO.